Okay, I wanted to talk to you about your music. Um, when did you actually begin making music?
Yeah, so when I think about the very first music that I wrote, it was going back into like the mid 90s. So, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So the first music that I came across, I guess that was hip hop, was Run DMC. And then as time went, started to come across acts like Tribe Called Quest, NWA, so on and so forth. They were massive influences on us, particularly NWA for me and my cousins and my brothers. That was really empowering, because we saw that uprising against oppression. And obviously, there's a track there's a particular one, like, if I may excuse my French for the moment, but Fuck the Police was a track that we heard that when that came out here. And that was powerful for us because we felt that harassment from the police and so on and so forth. And it was, I guess, it was us just being like, yeah, we can feel empowered by this music thing. It's a really powerful thing. And definitely for us, it was a thing about, we didn't necessarily see a lot of Indigenous people who were breaking out over here back then. Things have changed quite a bit. There's a lot of Indigenous people getting up to the highest levels of spotlight here in this country now. And it's a totally different world to what it was when I was young, where we were very much looking out over to the US to try find things to be inspired by in terms of Black people. And so we really resonated with the Black experiences over there and artists over there. And it was when Wu-Tang Clan came out that that took it to a whole other level for myself and my cousins and my brothers, where, you know, we we were we were tribal people, living on our own lands. We were broken into clan groups. We know this stuff about our history. And then we saw a hip hop group that called themselves a clan. And in a way, it was quite automatic that we just felt like there was this kind of feeling about that group that reminded us of us in terms of it being a large scale, large size group. So I wrote my first rhymes in 1996, would have been 13 at the time. And there's a bunch of my cousins there. We had grabbed a tape and recorded a loop with an outro of a Wu Tang Clan track. And from that point, we began to create. And, for me, music has definitely been something that I dreamed of from that point, to have some sort of voice to express things that were of a value in terms of, I guess, piercing through to a greater sense of perception that you did get in some of those hip hop artists that we were connected to back then. And it was around about when I was 18, 19, I started to write a lot more frequently and got into that day to day basis of writing. And I went to university to live in the city of Melbourne, 2 hours away from where I grew up, which is where I'm back living now. And then I went on a bit of a whirlwind with music. I ended up going into learning how to play guitar because I come to a point where I was like, I'm not sure if, I'm not sure if spiritually I'm at where I need to be on a cultural level to release hip hop tracks. Like there's something in my voice box that's telling me in my heart and my spiritual self that I got more work to do within my identity. So I went into more so learning how to play instruments for a number of years. And that went on for, I guess it was over a decade again, until I came back to hip hop again in about 2015. And at that point, I was also learning how to use a loop pedal. And through that period in time, I was learning my mother tongue too, which I'd been learning for about 5 years or so up at that point in time. And I started to learn how to, or really apply myself to singing in my mother tongue in language. And I feel that there was something there that really unlocked when I started to sing in language, that one thing went to the next. And then again, or for the first time even, I felt I could do hip hop, but I can maybe take a baby step into releasing a track, and I will just release that one track and see how I feel about it and see if I'm supposed to release more. So in 2018, I ended up releasing a track called Australia Does Not Exist, which was the first hip hop track that I released. And since then, I've released a number of songs, and now working on a whole album for this hip hop, I guess, centric project, but always at the same time, very much, you know, creating music is really important for me in terms of first coming in with that basis of sound and letting the sound inform the story that I will hopefully be open to receiving in a powerful and necessary way that's coming from the right source, and definitely thinking about how to and really cultivating and exploring using the indigenous language of my people, Yorta Yorta, whether that be through rapping or spoken word or singing as well. So it's been a beautiful journey so far.
Oh yeah, man. I checked out some of the tracks. I definitely gotta give you your props, man. You know, the lyrical content, the lyrical skill, I could see you being influenced by Wu Tang because you're good with the words and the rhymes. You put a lot of effort into what you're saying.